Okay. I want to make a real quick video. I feel like I'm still struggling with that, and I think that's what's making it difficult to keep consistently uploading. But I just want to give my thoughts on Arsenal PSG. So exciting. Like, I really, really enjoyed that game. But I think it's a little disappointing overall. But and I'll get to why I say that. But I want to quickly talk about a few people. Tonight, we saw so much talent, so much ability. We saw experience. We saw bravery. We saw IQ. But I also think we saw some players like true colors. And in many ways, I feel like I learned a little bit about a couple players. And let's be a little bit less ominous about that. I really want to talk about Martin Odegaard. Because I think, coming from a United fan, this is important. Because I think for the longest, and I say this with the least amount of like hate possible, because I have no hate. But I think for the longest, Odegaard and Bruno have always been compared. I mean, firstly, they just occupy different roles. Like, that's just a thing. But just in terms of like what they both contribute to the team, and obviously one player plays for a less functional team, so one player just obviously like automatically has more responsibility. But tonight, man, Odegaard was mute, and even more stark in comparison to Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka as well. I think those two players really showed their levels tonight in terms of their importance to this Arsenal side. Going back to Odegaard, you know, I think he's a very, very, very technically proficient player. I think he's smart. He's cute. He dribbles. He has a great eye for a pass. You know, the reverse ball is his deadliest weapon, right? That's his favorite trick. It's that little, you know, the little move where he dribbles in one direction where a player is making an underlapping run, and he kind of just slides the ball past, you know, slides it through the opposition's defensive line, usually in complete opposite like direction from where he was moving. And when it's executed, it's beautiful. And when Odegaard executes that, and when Odegaard is on that level, he's amazing to watch, you know, like genuinely, I have no hate in my heart when I say this. Like, I like to watch exciting players, whether they play for my team or not. But I also think it's worth noting and commenting when certain players just consistently seem to not be what they're spoken to be about. I think Odegaard's a great player, but he's not that 10 that can just put it all on his back and like create. If Declan Rice is more of a creative fulcrum and Bukayo Saka is more of a creative fulcrum for your team, you know, that says some things. And I think I'm going to end that point there just because I kind of feel bad. But Odegaard's a great player, but I think levels have been shown. And I think the conversations and the comparisons to Bruno need to just end. They've never been on the same level, but that's not the point of this video. The point, I just like wanted to mention that first because I think that was something I thought so many times while watching this game. I was like, damn, Odegaard can just not get rhythm. There was like a passage of play where like for 5 minutes he was like back in the game. I can't remember if it was like in the second half, but I was like, okay, I'll eat my words. Like, you know, the game's still going. Like, we're in London. Maybe Odegaard can just turn it up because like he is that creative, and like he could just show up with an assist and all of a sudden it's Odegaard who's, you know, lurking. And I think he's capable of things like that. So I'm not saying that's beyond the realms of possibility. He just could not show up tonight. But I feel like he hasn't shown up all Champions League. Someone who has been showing up, though, is Declan Rice, especially in the absence of Thomas Partey. Rice was asked to play a different role today. And I think if it weren't for that, I do think Arsenal would have been a better side. I think maybe even could have scored. That's why I actually do think the return fixture could still be a good game. There's a reason why the game ended only 1-0, and the goal was excellent. We'll get to that, though. But let's talk about Declan Rice for a little bit. I think this year specifically has shown why he was a 100 million signing. And for me, I love when a player is expensive and shows that they're worth that because it's exciting. It's actually kind of depressing when players go for such high rates and you go, Like, no hate, but like Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo basically costing what Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice cost. It's like no disrespect. And Caicedo's a great player and his potential is great. And I know this season he's on a comeback, but like these 100 million price tags are just getting dropped on players like nobody's business. And it's like 100 million used to buy you the world, you know? Anyways, also that's like a consequence of like, you know, inflation and capitalism, and you know, I'm just kidding. Obviously we live in a different time. But yeah, back to that 100 million player, Declan Rice, man. He's strong, he's confident, he's so self-assured. It's incredible. It's like having a Saliba in midfield, but a little bit more technically proficient and a better passer and obviously a better shooter and obviously a different role. But like it's that like chest up, like I can run through four players and I'm not afraid of losing the ball, and he consistently does it. He is honestly such a great ball carrier, and I know it's always been a trademark of his. He's always been, even back at West Ham, he was always good at just taking the ball and just moving the team up, and that's just such an underrated aspect, you know. I think of football in general, just the importance of like it's honestly beautiful, like just somebody able to pick up the ball and just move 20-30 yards unopposed, especially when they're going through players, because someone like Declan Rice, he did it a couple times today. You have a pocket of 3 or 4 players. If you can scuffle past those, you just eliminated 3 to 4 players that could have possibly been pressing or, you know, defending or cutting out a passing lane. And, you know, with a team that's trying to be attacking and direct, that's just another essential piece in the cog. And I'm really excited to see where Arsenal go under Arteta. I think Declan Rice is definitely an amazing piece to the puzzle. I think it's really, really exciting. I think Partey needs to be evolved. I think Zubamendi would be huge. I don't know if he's going to Liverpool though. And then obviously a striker, but like, yeah, back to Declan Rice, man. He's just so exciting. He's so good on the ball, and he was asked to play a deeper role tonight. I think if he played a little bit further up, I think if he was more of like a true box to box, he could have had more of an influence. But you even saw it when he started to get on the ball, the team started to tick. I can't say the same about Odegaard. But what I can say is Bukayo Saka. Exciting, electric. I think that like he's just so fast and powerful that like a lot of the times he'll be in situations where it seems like the rest of his team's just not on the same page. But okay game from him today. A good game from Rice. I also think another really good cameo was Ethan Nwaneri. And like obviously we all know him and we all know his talents, but I wonder why we didn't get more of that. And hopefully for the return leg we do, because first of all, instant impact, right? Like instant impact. And I know that him and Saka play the same role, but like maybe play him on the left, bro, because I'm getting tired of watching Martinelli and his decision making. Like at the very least, play someone younger, more exciting, and much more intelligent. Like we know Nwaneri is special, and we know he's intelligent and he knows how to make decisions. Obviously he's rough and raw. But yeah, I mean, that opportunity at the very end where he like dribbles into the box and then like lays it off for Martinelli, who literally fucking skies it. He shoot the ball, you know. I think he was like, I'm in a Champions League semifinal, and if I get on the pitch and I miss this in the box and not pass it to a more experienced player, I'm gonna never hear the end of it. That's definitely what went through his head. I don't remember if he played against either of the games against Madrid. I'm not gonna lie, but if he did, obviously like nothing too big, so I think maybe he's just like a little afraid of the moment, and maybe the occasion was just a little intimidating. But I would love to see him shoot in that moment, because imagine the headlines of Ethan Nwaneri scoring 2 minutes after getting subbed on to take Arsenal back to the return leg with a possibility of winning because they're 1-1. But aside from all that, good game from Arsenal. I think though maybe not good, maybe less, maybe like okay, but I think PSG are excellent, man. Like, I mean, we've known this and we've been seeing this, but like, I really think it like took the world by notice when they played Liverpool. The first player that comes to mind, man, Nuno Mendes. I mean, locking up Salah for 2 legs. Who did he lock up? I mean, who was he defending on the left against Villa? Was it Rashford? Rashford and like whoever else their left wings are. Like, Nuno Mendes has been putting in shifts, bro. And then today, Saka. Like, he is quickly putting himself on the map as, like, I am actually that guy. And I'm not just, like, another wonder, like, a one-season wonder kid from Portugal who, like, is going to be in Europe and then, like, fizzles out as, like, a good player that gets talked about and occasionally has good performances. No, bro. This man is back to back to back dropping dimes. Like, he's quick, he's strong, he's confident, he's technically astute. Like, he's actually an impactful player. And like, hindsight bias, but like, damn, why didn't we sign him in January? We were linked to him, and like, I love Dorgu, but like, that's what we need, bro. Like, that's a left wing back, bro. But clearly not gonna happen, and it is what it is. And we're not here to talk about United because United are trash. We play on Thursday though. We'll see if I have a reaction to that game though. Let's continue though. I want to talk a little bit more about PSG. Like I said earlier, PSG are just genuinely excellent. Like, they're so exciting to watch. When they're in full flow, they're so exciting to watch. Dembele, I mean, is he the most informed player in the world right now? I mean, I guess Gyökeres you can debate. In terms of like finishing though, like Dembele is on fire right now. And it's so interesting because the more he performs like this, the more the Barcelona saga just looks so interesting. And like, I don't know enough about that, and I'm not a Barcelona fan, so I'm not going to elaborate on that situation. But I do know that he's a player that gets a lot of stick from the Barcelona fan base. Whether deserved or not is not my place to comment, because I am not a real Barcelona fan, even though I have that gorgeous kit behind me, 2001, 2002. Xavi, by the way. But aside from the point, of course, back to PSG, Dembele, excellent player. But that midfield, bro, I think is my favorite part of that team. Even though that attack is amazing, especially when you have the attack of like Kvicha, Doué, Dembele, like that is a scary front three. Do not get that twisted. Like, that's a scary front three. But that midfield though, like, it's borderline erotic. Fabian Ruiz, Vitinha, and Neves is so perfect. It's so perfect only because they are just so complementary and they balance each other so well. Because, first of all, you have two literal pocket rockets, bro. Like, literal pocket rockets. If you play FIFA, those two players, Neves and Vitinha, are like the definition of quick step plus in real life. Like, you tap R2 and they're fucking floating max speed within seconds. So you have those two dudes that just like, I was watching Neves a couple times today where like the ball would be like quickly loose and an Arsenal player is like sprinting and he just like, it takes him a second and he's there. Like, he just shoots across the pitch. Same with Vitinha. And those two players, bro, they glide with the ball, man. They glide across the pitch. Like, it's like the pitch is made of ice and they have ice skates and they're just so smooth. Vitinha, it's so funny because like this, I see this meme all the time where I'm like, don't give up on your life. Always remind yourself that Vitinha couldn't buy a minute at Wolves. And that's like so crazy because like, not to say that it's like, oh, Wolves didn't know what they were doing. This is more so a case that like players shine when they're in the system that benefits them the most. And that's just a thing. And that's also why I think like we write off players way too soon in this era of football. I think a lot of the time players that are underperforming are just like not, they're not playing to their strengths, or they're not being played to their strengths, which is like another subject. But Vitinha is so exciting to watch on the ball. He's so cute on the ball as well. Like, he is so difficult to get off just because he's constantly shifting that ball into a space where his back is to the player against him, and it's like impossible not to foul him if you want to get the ball. Like, you have to go through him to get to the ball because he's always so aware of like players near him, but not just as a ball, like a ball carrier in terms of dribbling, but literally ball carrying. I spoke too soon here. Literal ball carrying, like taking the ball and moving, like I was mentioning earlier. He's excellent at that, and it's like the way he does it as like Declan Rice is like somebody who like strides. He's like elegant. He like chest up and like takes up the pitch like a Jude Bellingham, right? They take up the pitch with like grace. They're like a horse that's galloping through the forest, right? Vitinha is like a little go-kart, bro. He's like he slides, dude. This is Vitinha right here. This is Vitinha. Okay. Oh my god, bro. I hope I don't. Is that gonna get me copyrighted? Anyways, um, fuck. Okay. But yeah, that just like effortless, that little slide across the pitch, the glide, the quick acceleration. It's beautiful. It's elegant. Same thing with João Neves though, but the difference is Neves is he's also a bulldog at the same time. So he's like Vitinha, but that with really, really, really good defensive awareness, essentially. I mean, that tackle, he had like two crazy tackles today. One of them was in the box. Was it, who was about to shoot? Was it Martinelli or Trossard? It was one of those two. Somebody was in the box. It was like a ball was like cut back and they were about to shoot and he just like side foots it just like at the very last second. He just comes around and dinks it like from around the player. And it's just that like acceleration mixed with that defensive awareness that's just like, it's kind of scary because he's not like a CDM that like trots his way like, oh, you blew past him. Like that man has thrusters and will get that ball off of you and it will be a clean tackle and it's beautiful. And then the other midfield player, Fabian Ruiz, I mean, he's also a unit. He glides, he strides, he's beautiful on the ball as well, elegant, always good on the exchange between his midfield compatriots. Has a great pass on him. Honestly, has a shot, but just like really good at just holding the ball and holding players off. If those two pocket rockets can't, he will. And that trio is just, it's honestly, it's a gift. It's a blessing for us to be able to watch that. But yeah, let's quickly comment on that defense or that attack. Doué, I mean, I've heard this before, the Neymar regen. I mean, obviously a little too soon to call that, but like he's so exciting to watch, man. He is so exciting to watch. His potential is so high. He's just so effortlessly like clean with the way that he just like has those like step overs. He's so showy. He's so exciting. And I love that. There was one point today where he did a little bit too much and he lost the ball, but I'm like, I'm not even mad. Like if I was a PSG fan, I wouldn't be mad. Like you make the game exciting to watch. And even if we're not scoring, speaking as if I'm a PSG fan, even if we're not scoring, at the very least, you're providing excitement to the team. You're providing excitement to the experience of watching. And like, that's part of watching. Like, yes, we want goals and we want to win our games, but like, we also want it to be in an exciting, fashionable manner, you know, or maybe I'm just speaking for myself. I know I'm not. The point is, do it. En français, doué, which apparently means talent in French, and that's couldn't be more fitting, genuinely. But then Ousmane Dembele, I already gave him his flowers. Let's give him again. Like, come on, you are excellent, man. Scary, and it's the only reason why I'm like, I don't know if PSG aren't going to go to the final is just like Dembele exists, bro. Like Dembele exists. You sure that Arsenal are going to be able to hold their own in the return fixture? We'll see. And then Kavicha, he's a magician, bro. The assist for today's beautiful goal by Dembele. But he's so creative as well, man. He's so powerful as well. Silky, fast, quick, intelligent. That attacking trio is so fun to watch. The midfield trio as well. Defense, excellent game. Hakimi, pretty good game as well. He had an opportunity, but actually amazing tackle today. Amazing tackle by Saliba, who had a pretty decent game today. Okay game. He was, I think, pretty shaky in the beginning, but he like seemed to find his feet and almost like spurred confidence back into the team. It was almost like the Arsenal team was waiting for someone on the team to be like, hey guys, we're not actually scared. And then the rest of the team was like, oh yeah, you're right. But prior to that, it was like everyone was scared to have the ball. It was hot potato for like at least 25 minutes. And PSG could have sealed the game in the beginning, but that's the thing about these Champions League games. It's like it'll be all this like attacking impetus and like scary, and then like maybe not the best finishing, and it's like 20 minutes later the momentum shifts, and like that's the Champions League, bro. Like you have to seize the moment when you have it. And that's why I'm like moments like Nwaneri not shooting and like Martinelli skying a couple times with like really poor decision making in my opinion. And like Martinelli, bro, like for me, bro, he's the Garnacho of Arsenal. He's probably a better player, but it's that like ability. I will give him praise first, right? He's direct, he's quick, he's exciting, he's electric, right? exciting, let me take that back. Electric is also a really big compliment, but he's definitely direct, right? And he's quick. But a lot of the times he'll take the ball and like even shimmy past a player too. Like today, he put the ball through someone's legs, Hakimi's legs actually. But it's like he'll put himself into the final third, like Garnacho, and then just like not make the right decision. And it's like, okay, you did all that work and it's great, but like, bro, like you just threw. Enough of that though. Game ends 0-1. Arsenal can't get it done in the Emirates. PSG prevail. I think maybe the game was more deserving of a draw, but at the end of the day, it's the team that scores more goals that wins, and obviously today that was PSG. We'll see what Arsenal have up their sleeve. I would love to see some sort of resilience. I think Arsenal needs to remind themselves they are the team that knocked Madrid out. Y'all won both legs. You knocked them out. You beat them at the Bernabeu. Outclassed them across both legs. I know PSG are a much better team right now, and Madrid are a shadow of like who we know them to be. But regardless, beating Madrid is big. Beating Madrid 2 times is even bigger, especially when one of them is at their ground, which is, regardless of whether or not they're at their peak of their powers right now, that's an intimidating ground, especially with like all the hype that we had like building up to that game. But some closing thoughts. I would have liked to see a little bit more electricity from Arsenal today. I think we could probably chalk that down to the fact that Rice was out of position and maybe Odegaard was just a little overmarked for his comfort. But it's those players that you choose, okay, I'm getting marked, or I'm going to drop, or I'm going to make it hell for these players that are marking me, and I'm going to be that difference maker. When Bruno is marked by 2-3 players, he's a fucking center back, and he's getting on that ball. I did not see Odegaard try hard enough to show for the ball. In fact, I actually got the vibe that Odegaard didn't want the ball. And like, no disrespect, but like, that's the captain. And that energy, that goes through the team. I think players today that like stood up and showed the team, hey, you don't have to be scared, were Declan Rice. I think Saliba showed up a little bit. Miles Lewis-Skelly, good performance, a little underrated performance. Maybe we'll go under the radar, I don't know. But I think he had a great performance today. Really, really, really good at just like taking the ball from like wide positions, shifting centrally, and just like honestly bulldozing. And if he's not bulldozing, he's getting fouled. But he's so good at just taking the ball and sliding past players. And he's so young. Another really exciting, like promising thing for Arsenal, like amongst Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, Ethan Nwaneri. I think there's a lot to be excited for Arsenal, even if you guys don't win the Champions League this year. And like obviously you guys aren't winning the league, but honestly, I think the horizon is near. I think you guys just need a striker and maybe another midfielder. I think a lot of the system is pretty intact. I'd like to see Arteta get a little bit of respect. I kind of feel bad for him. But I do think that as well, a lot of the stuff is kind of his own demise. I think that recently he's been playing a little bit too much of pragmatic football, and maybe that's just a consequence of not being backed by the board properly. This is not an Arsenal fan channel, so I really don't care enough to get into the specifics of that. But I feel for a manager who has like a cool philosophy that isn't getting the justified like backing, because it's like, okay, I have this vision, but I can't execute it because you guys don't want me to. Enough of that Arsenal talk though. PSG win the game 1-0. Maybe deservedly so. I still think a draw would have been more fitting, but honestly, the disallowed goal was kind of sad. But I do think Arsenal got away with a pen. I do think Timber got away with getting a red card today. I forgot to mention that. Totally should have gotten sent off. He should have gotten 2 yellows. No direct red, but he should have gotten 2 yellows today. He should have gotten 4. But I think he got 0. I don't know what that was about. Ref was on some weird shit today. But honestly, those are my thoughts for the game. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see if I make a video tomorrow.